Yes, the rumors are true. The City of Portland Bureau of Transportation has opened most of their Southwest 4th Avenue Protected Bike Lane project. This is a $22 million investment to completely redo Southwest 4th from Burnside in the north all the way down to I-405 in the south. PBOT has opened officially, so that means the signals and everything is ready for us between about Southwest Taylor and Southwest Carruthers. Now, to back up a bit, this is the biggest project so far from what PBOT calls their Central City in Motion plan. This is a plan that we started talking about back in 2013. The whole idea was to make downtown actually bike friendly. Contrary to what people might think with Portland's reputation, downtown hasn't traditionally had a really great bike network. Most of it was just really sharing the lane with car users. For years, I remember PBOT's biggest flex about biking downtown was that at least they'd timed the signals for bike speeds. It wasn't much solace for the interested but concerned, right? The folks that we really want to get on bikes down there. So the Central City in Motion plan, the whole idea was to change all that, make it really an all ages place and have a network of bikeways in the Central City that your kids, that your grandparents, everybody could ride safely. Now keep in mind, back then, 2012, 2013, when the plan was first conceived, things were a lot different. Bike mode share, according to a Portland Business Alliance, now the Portland Metro Chamber, the bike mode share was 11% in 2012. That's quite a lot higher than it is now. So that's what gave PBOT the urgency to do these projects. The guy that was leading the PBOT division in charge of bicycling back at the time said, quote, "We need to treat bikes with the same seriousness we treat transit and light rail." Now that is speaking my language, a real connected network with no gaps. And here we are, 2025, I'm finally able to show you the biggest project yet from the Central City in Motion plan. It starts at Southwest Carruthers. You roll up to this pretty unassuming bike-only signal. This is a really important part of the project. This is where PBOT gets you from the right side of the road to the left. As long as you're on that little loop in the pavement there, you're going to trigger the bike-only signal. Now, why did they have to be on the left? That's because PBOT's analysis showed that there was a lot of right-turning car traffic from 4th going east, right? So people accessing I-5 and other things across the Willamette River, they figured there's going to be way too much right hook conflicts if they kept the bike lane on the right, so it's on the left. It starts out pretty straightforward. When you get to the first intersection at Southwest Grant, you notice right away this isn't a normal PBOT project. This isn't one of their low-budget quick builds. This is a higher investment. This is what happens when they have $22 million to spend on a project. Not only do they repave the whole thing, they're able to put in a lot of this permanent concrete median work. This is really important stuff that you'll see throughout the project. It calms traffic, it sharpens turning radii, it increases visibility. It just generally has the impact of slowing everybody down and creating more separation among users of the road, which makes everything safer for everyone. Coming up to Southwest Lincoln, this is really like the grand entrance of the project. This is where the repaving started, and you can finally see the bike lane in its full form. Nice and wide, painted green, right next to a bus-only lane. You see the nice smooth pavement there. Now, while there's not as many right turning conflicts in this project, there still are left turns, not only at intersections, but also at businesses. You can see here, like in front of the Domino's, PBOT's done a good job of mitigating the potential conflicts with those corners by, again, putting out these permanent concrete medians to prevent people from making sudden left turns. They have to make a little bit more intentional left turns, which makes the visibility better for everyone. And if there is a collision, it's going to be slower speed and lower impact. Coming up on Southwest College, it's always fun when you bump into someone you know. This is RJ, who is also out there nerding out. Here at Southwest College, we have yet another bike-only signal. You're going to have to get used to looking for these bike signals and using them, and I'll tell you more about that in a bit. This section is going to be probably the busiest. It's also the most exciting from like an infrastructure nerd perspective, just because there's so much going on here. You've got a really popular food cart pod. You've got the Portland State University campus. So this is always bustling with students and professors and other folks. So this section is always going to be interesting and full of people. Continuing south to Hall, it's a good chance to look at all the different types of signals. And I'm going to give a word of caution. I think the signalization is going to be confusing for people at the start. You've got just so much going on. Look at all these signal heads in this frame. You've got the through traffic signal head, so there's two for that. You've got the left turn only signal head. You've got a transit signal. You've got the far side bike signal, and you've got the ped signal on the far side as well. And you've got the near side bike signal. So lots to keep track of. And you'll notice RJ just bolted right through. I think he was looking at the walk signal or who knows, something else, before he realized, thanks to the far side bike signal, that he was supposed to stop. This is a lot to keep track of, especially since I think most Americans are used to only looking at one type of signal head. We're going to have to get better at looking at different types of signal heads, especially if you're a bicycle user. You've got to notice not only the bike signals, but in some cases on a few intersections, PBOT actually wants the bike riders to use the ped signal. But I think ultimately people are going to get used to it and figure it out as time goes on. So as long as you have a green bike signal, you're good to go. And that gets us to the next part of this project I wanted to take a closer look at, which is this beautiful bus stop at Southwest Hall. Check this thing out. New bus stop floating in the street so the bus operator doesn't have to service the curb and encroach on the bike lane. Another thing worth noticing is that PBOT's invested in concrete here, which lasts a lot longer than the asphalt pavement. So with the buses being so heavy and so frequent, they can really dig up asphalt pavement. Now that it's concrete, it's going to last a lot longer. Again, that's another thing that PBOT's able to do when they actually have a real budget to make good quality projects. I also noticed how this driveway was permanently closed. Good for PBOT for doing that. One less conflict to worry about. Coming up on Southwest Harrison here, you can see how it's positive even for pedestrians. They're going to have more protection, more median islands to wait at, shorter crossing distances. And here at Harrison is where the bike lane transitions up onto the sidewalk. PBOT had to do this because of all the rail tracks in the roadway surface, and this is going to be kind of a wait and see. I'm curious how this ultimately works out. I think if we did have the 11% bike mode share we used to have 10 years ago, this would be a lot more controversial. But I think given the traffic we have down there right now, this should be okay. The full green color should definitely help with that. Be aware of when you're going through here, be mindful of people walking. I hope we get to the point where it's so busy that it becomes a problem, but we're not there yet. Then this advisory caution sign here is just to let you know this is not a right angle crossing of rail tracks, so you've got to be careful when you go through there, especially if it's been raining. The next thing I want to point out is another really cool bike signal here. So you'll notice this loop detector in the pavement. These are the magic loop detectors. I kind of wish they were a little bit more conspicuously marked, but this one in particular is cool. What it does is once your bike rolls over this, it actually triggers yellow flashing lights. So if anybody's going left, they know that they're supposed to stop for walkers, bikers, whoever that might be in the intersection. So with that yellow light triggered, you get to go through Southwest Mill without any problems. To take another look at Southwest Mill, here's how a bus operator navigates it. I thought it was notable how careful and slow this bus operator had to go to clear all the curbs. It's also notable that someone has already destroyed one of the plastic delineator wands. I'm hoping that people can figure this out eventually and they are able to make these turns safely without destroying the infrastructure, so we'll have to wait and see on that. Again, look at how beautiful that is north of Mill. That is real bike infrastructure, folks. So continuing south on Mill, everything is pretty straightforward. Notice how big those buffer islands are. That's going to give people in cars plenty of room to open their doors, to unpack, to do what they need to do. Again, just having to stop and do a second take. Look at that beautiful bioswale, the smooth pavement, the wide bike lane, the big median, the separation from the other lanes. You've got to love it. Getting into Southwest Market here, I didn't get a great video of it, but the width here is totally adequate for riding side by side with another bicycle rider and having a conversation. So that's the kind of new bar that's being set with this Southwest 4th Avenue project. Plenty of room to ride side by side, which is really, in bike infrastructure terms, that's next level. That's kind of the European standard. So as we get to Southwest Jefferson, more great loop detection for the bike signal. In this one, there's a blue LED. When you're on that loop detector, that blue LED says, hey, I see you, just hold on a second and I'll throw you a green signal, so don't run the red. And then as we cross over Southwest Jefferson, we get to this amazingly beautiful block right in front of City Hall. I'm a big believer in symbolism, and I just think finally having a protected bike lane in front of Portland City Hall really makes good on our city's reputation as the best bicycling city in America, and I could not be more proud to see this infrastructure finally in the ground. Continuing south, here's another loop detector with one of these yellow flashers to warn folks turning left to be aware of bicycle riders. It's just really straightforward, as it should be. It's a really beautiful block, especially in fall with all the trees, and not much to worry about from a bicycling perspective here. Just beautiful infrastructure. I hope everybody gets a chance to go out and ride this. Like I said, right now it's open to about Southwest Taylor. PBOT's going to be working on this through the winter, hoping to open it up toward Burnside. If all goes according to plan, should be open by next month, and I hear that PBOT was going to have a full ribbon cutting ceremony and all that sort of stuff. This is such an exciting development. I can't wait to see what happens once we get bike traffic numbers up, and especially when we continue to add to this network so people can actually actually get from point A to point B on facilities that look just like this. That's always been the vision. It's exciting to have a piece of it now in the bank, done, on the books. Let's go. So get out and ride it. Love to know what you think about it. As always, like and subscribe to this video so you can see future ones. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the streets.